All right, we're live. What's up, guys? Happy Wednesday. This is the Wednesday daytime stream. We're started late. We were starting late last night, too. I'm sorry. But we are starting a little bit late, and well, here we are. Let's go ahead and get started. We've got nothing crazy new came in the mail today. I was hoping for something new, but really I haven't ordered anything new in a little while. Here we are. It's all about the Victinis. It's all about the Magic the Gathering. That's what's going on. And we've got a big, robust menu anyways for anything else you want to open. All right. Oops. Let me close this. So this is going to say, it's July 2nd, and what do we have going on? Fresh Victini break. Number 3. Wait, am I allowed to say that? And then we're going to say, let's see, Final Fantasy MTG Restock and Live Card Shop. Those are the main things. Those are the hot things right now. Over 9,000 Xbox layoffs. What? What do you mean? Microsoft is laying 9,000 Xbox workers off. Wow. Maybe they had too many people. Let's see. Microsoft-owned King division that makes Candy Crush is cutting 10% of its employees. ZeniMax also confirmed they're cutting jobs. 70 people being laid off at Forza Motorsports. They are canceling Perfect Dark and Everwild games. Perfect Dark. Isn't that old shooter title? This layoff comes more than 2 months after Microsoft announced it will be cutting 6,000 employees, followed by 305 reductions in early June. Microsoft laid off 1,900 Activision and Blizzard and Xbox employees in January 2024, followed by several game studio closures. Wow. Well, I mean, there's a simple explanation for it. They're not making money. A lot of people don't understand that's how it all works. You just got to make money. You have to. There's no choice. You've got to make money or you got to fall apart. That's why businesses are actually good. You know, when a government can't make money, let's say a government was running a grocery store. The one guy in New York wants to do that. He wants to do a government-ran grocery store. When the grocery store loses money, they just go, we'll just borrow money from the government to pay for that, for the losses. But when a private business fails to service its customers in a way that keeps them spending, the business goes away. So then no more money's lost. That's why the private sector is better. We are. All right. I'm going to mark this on red. And we're going to jump over here. Let's see. Oh, man, we were busy today. Closing that. Andrew A. Martin. One spot in the Victini on Sabaway. Oh, and 40 on Sabaway. I got it. Okay. There we go. I read it wrong. There we go. All right. So let's have this be a 180. 180 remains. So that is the first order of today. A spot on the brand new Victini. They're anticipating the $80 game titles. They're not making money, but raises prices. We are. I know, that seems like a contradiction, but it's not as simple as that, is it? You can raise your price. That doesn't mean you're making money. Like, for example, see this bay leaf? I can take it from $36 and bring it up to $80. That doesn't mean I'm making money on it. It just means it costs more now. So it's really about whether people are pouring money into the company. So you'd think they would lower prices, but, you know, that's complicated too. Why don't we just make the bay leaf $10 and then it'll sell? Well, because it costs a lot of money to actually get to the point where we have a PSA 10 bay leaf. So it's the same way with pricing software. The price is based on a combination of profit incentive and then the cost to develop the software and then just the market. So it's those combinations. But that doesn't mean people are buying a lot of it. It also doesn't mean the company's going to sell it for free or sell it at a loss. And so, you know, it's a whole painting, you know, it's a whole orchestra of events that occur that bring us to the market. Hey, Mister, long time no see. Hey, it's Silver Umbreon. How are you? Windy City Gaming's here. Hey, how's it going, man? Don't forget to like the video. Facts, Alex, they're anticipating the $80 game titles. Let's see. Perfect Dark canceled. Everwild canceled. Phil Spencer leaving. Wait, is Phil actually leaving? I'm excited for the Xbox handheld. I was going to buy one if it wasn't like $3,000. All right. But, you know, so all those people working that are going to be laid off, what they're going to do, they're going to assess each worker and decide who's not making any money for the company, and then they're going to let them go. So that's essentially what a market's all about. You're a laborer, and you need to go be productive. You need to go produce more than you cost. So if you cost $60, you have to produce $90. If you cost $50, you need to produce $80. You know, that kind of thing. And then a company says, you're so skilled at what you do, there's leftovers. So we're in business, baby. Let's get a building. Let's get a nice bathroom. Let's get a retirement plan. Let's get 401k. And so that's how it goes, right? And then you can buy stocks in the company, and that the leftovers, which is the profit, you get a cut of it. So they pay you to work, and then they pay you for being partially owner of the company. That's what it's all about, guys. Being highly, highly productive. Okay, so Andrew. It's not even a real Xbox handheld. It's a repackaged ROG Ally, which is just a handheld PC. I'm all about that. That's fine with me, man. That's fine. Here we are. You're saying basically they didn't build it in-house, and I don't think that's a big problem. It is because it's going to be sitting on the Microsoft software. Microsoft is a software company. It was never, you know, they've always tried their hand at hardware here and there, and it never works out. Their hardware always struggles to compete. And so if they were just a strict software, some people really want that, by the way. Some investors really want Microsoft to strictly be a software company, right? You don't have to be, you know, investing all this money into hardware and trying to be the best at hardware. You can just be the best at software. There's plenty of money there. And so, you know, you just get a really great Xbox software on another platform, another piece of hardware, and you're set. You can outsource the hardware, right? Bill Gates, he didn't sell computers. He sold an operating system that went on other people's computers. You know, people that would make computers would say, all right, we're going to make a deal with Bill Gates, and he's going to put Microsoft on our computers, and then people will want to buy the computers because it has Microsoft on it. And that was the whole business model for Microsoft from the beginning. So, you know, it's in tune with their current, or their classic, their old business model anyways. James Bean says 2009 Snorlax Rising Rivals. June slabs. Rising Rivals. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Okay, we're going after the 2009 Snorlax from June 6/18. Okay, so let's go to all slabs. Let's scroll way up here. Now we're looking for that Snorlax. There it is. And we're going to say Snorlax sold. Now we actually have to go find the Snorlax. Excuse me. Yeah, birthday. All right. Has better battery and processor. I like it. I'm excited for it, man. You know, because I feel like it was a really clever move. I've always felt like handhelds have been dominated by mostly Nintendo, and it's something that Xbox is very weak on. They never really get into it. And I like the Microsoft brand. I like that it's an American company. You guys ever think about that? When you buy Nintendo, when you buy Sony, these are Japanese companies. So it's cool to have an American company too, and have that as an option. I'm not hating on Nintendo. I think Nintendo's great. I like PlayStation. But I'm just saying it's nice to know that there's an American company making this stuff too. So I want them to get into it. I want them to do well. And I want there to be American jobs that I'm supporting when I buy my video games. But they have to be good, obviously. I can't just be buying that stuff just because of, product, you know, it's made over here. You gotta buy it. So I want to see Microsoft succeed. All right, let's see. But that means we have to have there it is right there. That means we have to have the best product, and we got to work really hard. It's a competition. That's what it's all about. That's why I was trying to get to. It's a competition. And competition's a good thing. There we go. Like the guy in New York. He wants the government-ran grocery store. We don't need that. We need young people to open up more grocery stores. That will drive down profits because they will start competing with each other. Young people have to step up and say, I'll be CEO of a grocery store. No one says that. No one says that. No one says, I'm going to open a grocery store. It's very rare. That's why you have fewer options, because no one wants to run a grocery store. They all want to be software engineers or something. You know what I mean? And so that's the problem. We don't ever tell people, go be a farmer. That's what would really, by the way, that's what would really drive prices down, is more farming innovation. Because the grocery stores, they're just middlemen anyways. If the cost of the produce and the cost of the meat was cheaper in the first place, then the grocery stores could easily drop the price. But that's a raw material. The food is a raw material, and those are going up in price. All right, let's see. Everything's gone up in price after the COVID inflation occurred, after the Federal Reserve handed out super low interest rates, and after the Federal Reserve handed out super low cash in the form of loans you don't got to pay back, or loans with no interest rates, all kinds of stuff like that. You know what I mean? So that was a huge stimulus, and it worked. Everything went up in price, including your food. It sure stimulated me. Do you feel stimulated yet? Oh, I'm so stimulated. I love being stimulated. Now you can't buy a home. Michael Pettiford, 6 Black Flame, 5 Fusion Arts. All right, let's get it. 6 Black Flame, 5 Fusion Arts. You can lower the Cartman to 30. What? All right, guys, here we have a Cartman gets a blankie, and it's $30. I love how they go AN ... because they don't want to say anal probe. How do we get the title but be tasteful? Always rep Microsoft for better or worse. The Sony leaks way back turned me away forever. Well, you know, they're all just companies. They're all just looking for profits, but it's a company that employs Americans. And so that money stays here. And, you know, your friend gets a nice job and pays taxes to the federal government. And then our federal government has money to spend, you know. So those are important ideas. And, but no, Sony's great. Nintendo's great. Obviously, these are Nintendo products. But we're selling Magic. I like that. I like that we're selling Magic too. You know, this is an American company. Magic is. So that's great for us. I'm all for international products, but I think Americans should take pride in making stuff too. And we got to compete. We just got to. All right, or we'll be poor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. But yeah, so on that subject of groceries, you want your groceries to be cheaper? We need more scientific innovations in food, and we need more people signing up to be farmers, saying, I'm going to farm. 5 Fusion Arts. Who wakes up nowadays and says, I'm going to be a farmer? Anybody? Probably almost no one. That's why your groceries cost more right there. You want your groceries to be cheaper? Everyone should be a farmer. Then you produce more of the same good, and the cost of that good is driven down. No one wants to be a farmer? Well, then the cost of the good goes up because no one's producing it. Basic economics. Basic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Supply and demand. Basic stuff. There. All right. Everyone wants to be a Pokemon card collector, Pokemon card seller. Profit margins in Pokemon cards get slim. If you were the only one selling Pokemon cards, your profit margins are like a balloon. This is exactly what happened to me in the year 2019, 2020. When I had zero competition, I was just making bonkers amount of money for a little while. And now there's tons of competition, and I constantly have to recheck my prices and make sure we're staying somewhat competitive. And so, you know, you're not allowed to run away with the price. You've got to stick to the market. Same with farming, same with any business. And so that's also a great indicator on what kind of business you should start. Look for the ones that have no competition. Let's see what you guys are saying now. I'll always rep Microsoft. I want to be an OF creator. You could if you had a big old pecker, and if you had a hot girlfriend, or just really good at making content. It's a real job. People really make adult content for money. Hope your parents don't mind. You need capital to open a business like a farm or grocery store. The cost of entry to being a software engineer is a lot lower. Yeah, I mean, listen, a lot of people have that fear. And there must be a way to work up to the point where you get started, you know. But the fact of the matter is, if that was really a problem for starting a business, where do all these businesses come from? Where do they all come from? They all started some way or another. Maybe you're in your backyard. Maybe you go to Home Depot. You buy a bunch of pots, a bunch of soil. You start selling orange trees. You know, you buy orange seeds and you get the trees up to a certain height. You start selling orange trees from your backyard. Sell it on Craigslist. We live in a more decentralized society than ever before. Anyone with the internet can start selling stuff, you know? And so that's really where we're at. So you start selling little trees that you grow in your backyard because you have a fascination in having a skill in tree growing. You take the profits from that and the profits from your job, put that together and apply for a loan for a chunk of farmland. You know, it's a slow workup, but you're right. It's you don't start at being a top producing farm. You start at the bottom. But everyone, oh, Michael, look at this. We're having a long conversation, and Michael pulls this hot Charizard. Hey, Michael, how about that? He kind of stuck to this. Michael was opening these for a while, and now he's got himself a nice Korean Charizard from Obsidian Flames. It's Black Flames. Look at that. Whew. Michael says, finally. Hell yeah, dude. I was actually running low on this product. Did you know that? I was thinking about buying more. By the way, we have this in English. We have a little bit in Japanese. We're almost sold out of that too, actually. This is a fantastic card. And the best news of all, we have a break on that Charizard. If you want a chance to just go straight to the Charizard for 40 bucks, here it is, 40 bucks. And you have a chance for the English one, 1 in 13 odds. Very nice. So there they are. Very pretty. By the way, these Korean cards tend to grade 10, so you're probably looking at a very good shot at a 10. They're just centered so well. I don't know how they do it. It's really nice. All right, good. We were talking about having to build up. That's so cool. Having to build up into reaching a point where you're a successful business. And it's kind of like a video game. When you start the video game, your character is very weak. You don't have a lot of good weapons. You don't have a lot of good items. And as you play the game, you kind of build up, you know, a little thing. You know, you build up a position. And so businesses work the same way. If you look at Walmart and say, how could I ever compete at Walmart or with Walmart? I might as well work for it. You'll never, ever get started. You can't think that way. You got to think of Sam Walton and what he had at the very beginning of his life. He wasn't a rich dude. He just wanted to start doing business. So you kind of got to think that way instead. And that's how you get about it. All right. There are. Most businesses started with the scrappy guy with no money, and he just really wanted to do something. Like one of the wealthiest guys in the world, Vanderbilt. He just, you know, he like worked at a grocery store. That was it. He didn't make any money at all. And then one day he's building the railroads or whatever it was, and he's the wealthiest person in history at some point, you know. So yeah, it starts small. It normally starts small. Every business basically started small. And there's examples where a guy's already wealthy and he begins, you know, a new business with his wealth. But where did that wealth come from? Well, somebody along some point started with nothing and he started to grow a business like the way you grow a tree. There it is, Michael. It's a different time now, though. Commodities were cheap and affordable back then. Sure. I'm not disagreeing, but again, I would argue that there's more opportunity now than back then. Back then, you had to be in the right place at the right time. You had to have knowledge that you just happened to have, and nobody really knew what the game was. We're all the way here in the future. Everyone's got the internet. You can sell to the whole world now. You could sell to China. You can sell to India. You can sell to the UK. You can sell to Canada. You can sell to Australia. We have technology. We have so many rich consumers. There's so many people who are not struggling, who have money, who want to buy stuff. So, and you've got the internet connecting us all. So the opportunities, I think, are actually way higher today because everyone's got an excess of money. Not everyone, but there's so many middle-class consumers now who are just, they got a good job and they're just working and they want to have some fun. And so the opportunities are abound. They didn't have all that back then. So yeah, the Vanderbilt guy, he had like a monopoly on doing like one thing that was badly needed by the government. So he was getting all this government money. Nowadays, you just, you know, like the Labubu guy, he just made an ugly doll, billionaire. You know what I mean? Like that wouldn't have happened back then. That would not have happened. You would not have made like an ugly corn doll or whatever it's called and then become a billionaire overnight. It just wouldn't have happened. So the opportunities are abound and you have to believe that. You have to have that mindset. Because if you're not confident enough to get started, you'll just never start. It is. All right. China, Law Trump style. I love it. There we go. I'm not saying it's impossible. it's just very obvious why young people would rather be a software engineer when you consider the risk and the capital need. Well, I mean, software requires the same capital. So, I mean, a degree today is like $70,000, $80,000 loan or whatever it is at the universities. Maybe you go to a cheap university. Maybe you go to the government school, the government college, community college. And so maybe you do something like that, right? But it's not free. So you do have to invest capital into becoming a software engineer as well. Because most places want to see your degree nowadays. You can't just, I guess back in the day, you could just prove you know code and then you're in. And maybe there's still some of that going on. But, and that's a skill that you develop. But, nowadays, they want to see your degree, and that'll cost money, too. You got to network at the college to get your foot in the door at some of the major companies. Here we are. All right. So, a tulip bulb could buy a house back then. Yeah, back in 1960s, a home was like $12,000. Of course, it was a much smaller home, and it didn't have internet, and you didn't have a cell phone bill. But the fact of the matter is, generally, women did not work, and so and Americans were just like white Americans mostly, who were just in the country by themselves, and so there was hardly a labor market, and America was like the dominant economy by far in the world, producing goods, manufacturing. So you're some white dude, just got a job at a factory, your wife stayed home with the kids, and you bought a $12,000 home. Life was good. And since then, things really rapidly changed. The U.S. government went broke. The buying power of the dollar collapsed because the United States government decided to disconnect itself from gold and to allow itself to go into severe debt. There was a point where they weren't allowed to do that. You know that, right? And then they passed a law that said they could. So the government said, okay, we can go into severe debt spending money on things we can't afford. And so the purchasing power of the dollar went down. The manufacturing got exported to China and other places. So those jobs just disappeared. And the labor market rapidly expanded as America told women to go to work. They said, hey, you don't have enough money? Well, then send your wife out. Okay, so your wife works now. Well, so now you can't afford anything again. Who are you going to send out now? You're going to send your children to the mines? You can't send your second wife out. You don't have two wives. So there's no trick this time. We had a trick back then. The trick was you send your wife out now. And but the labor market's expanded dramatically. There's just a lot of things going on that's pushing the value of the dollar down, and the value of your labor gets pushed down too. So it's like a tricky puzzle. It's a tricky game that you're playing where you have to think about these things really carefully and make the optimal choice as time goes by. All right, let's take another look at another order. Mr. Brad Bettle, he says, hey, mister, my pawn loan is taking longer than I thought. Can you put this money toward an extension to pay my loan, please? Let's see. Do we do that? Let's take a quick look at this. Let me see what the size of the loan is. Mr. Brad. All right. You got it, man. I'm going to do that for you. It's not a big deal. Let's just help you out. So we'll say, boom. I guess it makes sense. You know, if it's a slab away, it's a slab away. What's really specific about these slab aways, though, is that 690 is 690. You know what I mean? It's not like a card once upon a time that I acquired for 300 that now I'm selling for 690. That's straight up cash. So I gotta be careful about that. You know. So let's see. If you put that into slab away for like $20. A 15% interest rate on 690 would be $100. So if I'm making $45 from that slab away, then I should have taken that exact same cash and just invested it properly. So those are my thoughts. So in the future, I would say in the future, we got to think about that. The extension, I think, should be based off of a 15% value of the 690. So we would say, yes, you can extend it, but this time it's got to be an $80 extension. So we'll think about that on the pawn loans or whatever you want to call them. The reverse slab aways, I think, is what we call them. But you know what, Brad? I like you, so we're just going to help you real quick. And we never really wrote any rules like that before. Gabriel Gallegos, he says, Gem 2. You got it, Gabriel? All right. Most finance bros thinks BTC is a tulip mania bubble too. BTC is a tulip mania. During the 1600s, there was a tulip mania event where a bulb of tulip went to the price of a house. Then it all crashed. Oh, I did not get that reference. I've never heard that one. See, this is why I like you, LaFlame, because you're kind of, you like this kind of stuff. This is the stuff you're interested in, too. So I like you because you're into that kind of stuff. All right, so let's see. Let's get this gem, too. I'm always fascinated by stories like that and just understanding markets and understanding the world is what I'm passionate about. If I had a job teaching that kind of stuff, I'd probably be a happy teacher, too. You know, Professor Cardconomist at some local community college teaching basic economics or something fun like that. I'd probably be a chatterbox, wouldn't I? But yeah, that stuff's fun. So you know what's weird is I feel like I vaguely remember hearing that a long time ago. But so the price of tulips went up way too high, and that's a bubble essentially. But you're talking about a really, really crazy bubble. You're talking about an insane bubble. And bubbles do occur when, you know, you got investors selling to investors, you got people predicting things going to the moon, and there's always a correction, there's always a downturn. Like, for example, before the Great Depression, that was kind of happening in the stock market. People were taking on loans to buy stocks because every day you heard about how the stocks just kept going up. We're hearing something just like that with Pokemon right now, too, by the way. Every day some guy makes a piece of content talking about how so-and-so Pokemon card went to the moon today. You know, like somebody mentioned Masaki Gengar. There's only a $40,000 one on the internet now. Or new breaking price for Crystal Charizard or something like that. So that's, you know, you could say, well, maybe that's the real demand now. Maybe they were underpriced this whole time. Or you could be the other guy, the bear. You could say, no, this is clearly a bubble forming, and you better sell now and get out while it's high, and then you can buy back in after the crash. You know what I mean? So there's conversation going back and forth. The problem is that's all crystal ball stuff. Nobody really knows what happens next. Let's see. There were probably people selling their Pokemon cards in 2020, the beginning of 2024, thinking that, all right, Pokemon already peaked. I'm selling out while it's still high, and I'm going to get my cash and move it into Bitcoin or move it into stocks or real estate. And then 2025 rolls around, and they're like, what have I done? My card would have been worth triple now? No! That was the bear market. 2024 was the bear market, and you sold at the wrong time. No! So, of course, there were a lot of people selling during that time period. And if you had done nothing but hold, now today your card would be presumably worth more. But maybe today's a bubble. See, so it's this back and forth conversation about what prices should be. And sometimes there's indicators about that, like how much debt does the average consumer have? How much do they get paid? How much spending money do they have left over? How are they keeping up with their mortgage? So the government and agencies keep tracks of those kinds of pieces of data and information to kind of guess what the economy should be at. And this is how people make big decisions on whether to expand their business, whether to invest their money, whether to hide their money, you know. David Velez, 2 live customs, 2 shuffles. You got it, David Velez. Nothing's in a bubble till it is. I know when people lose confidence, anything could be called a bubble at that point, right? If people lose confidence in real estate and everyone sells at the same time, the bubble pops and everyone says, well, I got to sell now. Because there's like this, we call it a meme stock, when the stock would sharply jump because everyone jumped in at the same time. Well, this virality behind buying also applies to selling too. There's a virality to selling. If everyone's selling their Pokemon cards at the same time, the prices drop like a rock because everyone's lost confidence. And so this is, you know, more language to describe certain behaviors occurring in the market, like bubble popping, right? Bear market, bull cycle, a bull run. All right, here we are. Maybe we're in a bull run right now. But, you know, people get tired of Pokemon cards and they go, wait a second, maybe I need to buy a home, maybe I need to buy a new car, maybe I need blah, blah, blah. So they get tired of seeing those Pokemon cards at eye-watering record prices, and they say, you know what, I'm out. I'm not buying any. This is way too high. I'll wait for it to go down in price. You know, that kind of stuff occurs. Now, my perspective is the economy's not doing too bad. The wars don't seem to be affecting Americans that much, in my opinion. And if the interest rates fall in America, I think prices will actually increase. So that's my perspective. So I'm aggressive right now, even with the prices being real high. Two pokey shuffles. I'm aggressive right now, and prices have been rising. And here we are. What am I focused on buying? Like, what did I just buy? You know, it's weird because I'm always buying, really. That's the truth. But sometimes I focus my money toward other things. So I just got more Magic. I bought a Rocky Returns item. I bought some slabs. You'll see them later. So I bought some cheaper slabs that I think are in a range that'll be more enticing to people, but I won't reveal what they are yet. I bought a poker deck. I'm always buying poker decks. Let's see. I got some things. So there's some things I can't tell you I bought. If I tell you I bought them, you'll go out and buy them too, and then I won't be able to get it. All right. Yeah, I can't tell you some of the stuff I buy. It's got to be a secret because I don't want you going after the same items. It'll make me sad. Here it is. That's kind of how a market works. There you go. Mr. Read my last. Yes, let's read it. Did you ship me out already, or would it be okay to order more into my box? Oh, I'm sorry. Alexis is already here, and so she's already shipping your stuff out. But, you know, if you think you're going to order again with me at some point in the future, just start a new bag. Not a big deal. You get a whole year to a bag. So if you think in a week or a month you'll be buying again, you're going to have a new bag then anyways. So she's already down there. She's already shipping. Your stuff's probably already packed up because it's been 30 minutes. So, and there wasn't a lot to ship today. MFers will front run you, mister. I'm going to do it. Mister, you have to tell us. Oh, yeah. So there's always some items I buy that I don't talk about because I don't want to unintentionally drive the price up. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's just not a good idea. Like if Warren Buffett was trying to buy something, he wouldn't tell the world what he was buying before he bought it. He would tell them after he's done buying it. So you wouldn't want to do that. It's, I learned that lesson the hard way a long time ago. You guys know this story. Long time ago, I missed out on buying up more Rocky Returns back when they were like $75, $100 per PSA 10 because I mentioned how cool they were. And then all of a sudden, they were all gone. Someone else copied me. It was really frustrating. And I was like, oh, that sucks. All right. So now I talk about stuff when I know that I'm pretty well set. We won't tell, mister. We won't tell. Well, I'll tell you this. It's not a standard WOTC era card. I know those cards well. I've seen those cards go up and down over time, and those cards have the price ceiling is probably in. If you want to buy one of those, you got to pay a premium, and those cards are so high already, they easily fall when the market starts turning sour. I really like cards that have room to grow. Those are my favorite. All right, so we have a giveaway hosted by Mr. Julio this time. What a nice guy. Let's get this started. Don't think it's real hard to do well at this point in the market. Everything is triple and double in the past couple of months. Typically low pop vintage or well-known monsters always go up, no secret. Yeah, well, if that's true, why don't you just go buy Shining Tyranitar right now for $12,000? Assuming you had it, right? Let's say you had all the money you needed to go buy one. Why don't you just go buy it? All right, so type this in for this sexy waifu card giveaway. Mister's buying up the Gordy market. Yeah, that's right. I'm going after Gordy. Don't tell anyone, though. You guys are giving away the secret. We are? Yeah, that'd be fun. Maybe I should start a little club where you guys could be given a detailed breakdown of everything I'm buying. And if the club was just a small group of people. But no, I think that would be the same outcome. You know what I should do? I should document everything I bought. And then after a year, or when I'm ready to leave the market, I can tell a story about, you know, what worked for me. And you can just read those purchases as a history and think about it. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Wow, this iPad loses battery so fast. What the hell? It goes up until it doesn't. That's right. It cannot go up infinitely. It has to come back down. Just like housing. No. Housing more expensive than ever. So, guys, it is a Wednesday, and we are all caught up with the queue. Thank you, everyone, so far for your orders. Today, we don't have anything new in the mail, so really, it's all about the stuff that's already here. We've got these beautiful Final Fantasy packs. We've got this wonderful Victini break started all over again. Just tons of excitement. This is Tournament Victini, and we are seeing the prices rise on this again. Crazy. So people really want that Victini. This card over here, you've still got time to jump into this, but look, it's 15 out of 29 now. So if you've never considered Crown Pikachu, He's another card doing what this guy's doing. $40 chance for any expensive card. Don't even think of it as Pikachu. Just think of it as any expensive card. You could pull that for 40 bucks and sell it back to me. You could pull it for 40 bucks and post it on eBay. You don't have to keep the Pikachu. Here's Sketch Vader is at 2. Choincey Coin is 3 out of 5. That's pretty cool. We were just talking about this beautiful, beautiful Zard. Now, he is a top pick, by the way. You want my opinion on things? He's a little pricey. He's a little underpriced. I think the Charizard's underpriced. So that's my perspective on him, which means in the future, you won't get odds of 1 in 13. Look at these two cards. Odds of 1 in 13 over here. Odds of 1 in 29 over here. That's ridiculous, right? And he's older, too. He's a year older. So this card's from 2023. So, yeah, this one's on my list of being maybe a little undervalued. That's my perspective on it. Could be wrong. Sometimes it comes down to pieces of details like, did they overprint it? Is he too easy to pull? So maybe the Pikachu is much harder to pull. You never know. Here's the Mega Mew. This Mega Mew sublist is getting pretty close. We're all about the breaks. I'm actually in love with the breaks. I think that the breaks offer more value. Look at this. 2 spots over here. The breaks offer more value. What do I mean by that? I know how much you have to spend to pull 1 Charizard and get him to grade 10. I know how much you have to spend to pull 1 Pikachu and get him to grade 10. On average, because people open up thousands of packs and document it on like YouTube. And so you get kind of an idea of the pull rate. And once you understand that pull rate, you can be like, holy hell, you have to open a lot of these to get one of these. So if you like products that are RNG products, a chance for this, a chance for that, the breaks are surprisingly competitive when it comes to jumping over here and opening something like this. So you can open this instead. You don't have to buy a spot in here. You can open some Obsidian Flame. Here they are. You can open up $40 of Obsidian Flame. But I'm telling you, your odds in here are lower in these booster packs. $40 for $40. Your odds in here are lower than they are over here. Isn't that fascinating? So, and you can use, we use ChatGPT or AI to figure that out. What we do is we ask, hey, what are the odds of this? And then it goes and searches the internet for, you know, the pull rates on those. And then the average cost of, like, let's say a retail booster pack, and it just does some calculations. And then even when you pull one, a certain percentage of them do not even grade 10. So you may pull 2 Charizards before you get one that grades 10 or 3. So it's all about averages. The averages for this pulled out of a booster pack are so bad. So bad. Much worse than you think they are. And this comes down to the fact that PSA is just hard to get 10s at it, and Pokemon doesn't have to reveal how many packs on average you have to open to get 1 Charizard. So a lot of people miss that calculation. They don't see it. They don't see the math. And so I'm happy to offer these because I make money here when I host these breaks. And yet, even with me taking a cut of profit, you guys are still better off. I like that a lot. It's something you can't buy at Walmart. You can't buy this on eBay. Somebody has to host it for you, and I've been doing a great job of hosting it for years now. And so this is a good place for this kind of stuff. I'm also open to taking any kind of offers. You know, if you guys want a particular break, I'll definitely think about it. Because if everyone sort of agreed one particular break would be better than anything else, we could definitely pursue that. So, for example, we're doing the Victinis. I think the Victinis hit it on the head because this is what is hot right now. The Victini's gone off twice. Huge break, 30 spots, 33 spots. It's gone off twice, and it's going a third time. So this is hitting it right on the head. This is what people wanted. But, you know, maybe people will want me to host a mega break on something like this Umbreon in the future. See this Umbreon? I actually think it's the same deal here. I can host an Umbreon break where your $40 have a better shot in my break than actually opening up prismatics. You know how many prismatics we open? No Umbreon? Crazy amounts. Like 7 ETB cases, and so far maybe 4 to 5 of the, what do they call those? The booster bundles. Because people certainly tried. They certainly tried to open up the Umbreon for themselves, and it didn't happen. Well, if you guys had taken that exact money, 7 cases and 5 cases, and every dollar of that went into these breaks, I would have handed out a couple of these probably by now. A couple of them. Because there's a guaranteed one right here in our hands. It's not a question of whether it's in the case or not anymore. It's right here. Somebody's definitely getting one. So that's why I'm so proud of the breaks. I think they're a great thing. That's my spiel. Let's see if there's anything in the queue right now. By the way, happy 4th of July. We're almost there, guys. Are you guys buying fireworks this year? Karis and I are not buying fireworks. We did a bunch of fireworks last year. All right, the queues are empty. Karis and I, we did a bunch of fireworks last year. It's like $500. No, it was like $700, I think. And we let we had Alexis and her husband over, and we did a little barbecue, and Karis's mom was over. It was really fun. This year, no fireworks. We're just going to save money. We want to move one day, and so we're just saving some money. We're not spending any extra gratuitous money on fun, but we're going to probably play a little video games. Video games are cheap fun, you know. Let's see what you guys are saying. Any chance do you have, or are you going to be getting the new Dragon Ball set? Yes, that is already on the way. We have one case on the way. I'm tempted to get a second case because usually when you have this many people asking about it, the demand is hot. I bought lots of stuff, Mr. Bice. Those are Six's Gordy cards. We meme the Gordy, but in a few years, when the nostalgia kicks in, Gordy shoots to 200. The Tyranitar will obviously go up. When I mean vintage, I was more thinking of black and white and diamond and pearl, of course. Vintage doesn't only mean WOTC. That's true. Get in the Charizard, people. He is much easier to pull. There is way less SAR, and the pull rates are way better in OB Flames, no surging sparks. True, true, true. Let's take a quick look at their populations. That's a fair thing to argue. I think I remember back in the day talking about how Charizard felt like he was a little bit easy to pull. But that's not always the only measure. Sometimes he's also harder to grade, because the maybe that time period had worse grading. So the population on Charizard currently is 9.5. That sounds like a lot, but keep in mind the Evolving Skies Umbreon was some ridiculous like 15,000, and he went to the moon. He became unobtainably expensive. And now the Pikachu, I'm betting the Pikachu's a little bit lower. He's had less time out. Okay, and so the Pikachu, though, is at 5.3. We are. 5.3K. Okay, so here's some thoughts. Let's see. This is more than half of 9.5K. Half of this would be like 4.75, right? But this is actually 5.3. So this is more than half the Charizard. And yet, the Charizard is less than half in terms of the cost. And then on top of that, Charizard's had a whole extra year to be pulled and graded. So, you know, this has been out for a year less than the Charizard. I'm telling you, I feel that the Charizard's a little underpriced. I really think that one goes up. We are? All right, so 5.3K and 9.5K. Worst set for QA is Paldea Evolved. That's why PSA 10s are so pricey. Oh, yeah, those Magikarps are one of my favorite. I think that is my favorite card so far. I don't think a single card beats that Magikarp for me. Not this Umbreon, nothing beats that Umbreon or that Magikarp for appearance. PSA 10, Magikarp, Paldea. I'll buy another one right in front of you guys for fun. So let's see, what's the price today on the Magikarp? I'd love to have 5 of them so that I can put them all on the table. Is he going down? Is he getting cheaper? There's one in Italy for $1,700. I'm not buying that. Is anyone buying that? So here he is. Okay, so his price has gone down a little bit. There it is at $2,000. Yeah, I kind of felt that he was too expensive at $3,000. And so his price spiked and has been falling a little bit. You know what you need to do? You need to get a hold of one of these guys and say, hey, do this transaction with me off of eBay. And then you take 10% off and let the seller have 3. And you can take a whopping $200 off of that. So, you know, you do that minus 200, pretty obvious number. So now your price is only $1,823. Now that is coming back to earth because, you know, the eBay sold prices were like in the 1500s not too long ago. 2 spots left on the mega sub list. 2 spots left on the mega sub list. This is a big deal. It's for this vintage Mega Mew. This is Expedition Mew. He's often been considered the best Mew in the hobby. He's kind of in competition with the Southern Island Mew. Can you see that? This one is especially good because it's got a nice swirl by his head. And so it's an especially good copy. And it's just a really nice thing. Now, it's CGC 10. Some people are really prejudiced against CGC 10. I just think of it as a weak 10. That's it. You're buying a known weak 10. And even though that's not as good as a strong 10 or like a pristine 10, it's still pretty good. So, you know, what do you want to do? You want to spend $20,000 on Mew? Or do you want to spend $2,000? What is 400 times 7 is 2.8. So if this was a strong 10, they would ask probably about $20,000 for it. 20. There's a weak 10, And so we're asking 2.8 thousand. Huge difference. So I think the price is right, and it's a nice card. And I was looking for a nice card to host as a mega break. He's almost done with the next sub list. This would give you one of these $400 spots. The sub list is a way to break down one of the $400 spots, right? $40, 10 chances, and that's what that's all about. So this would be up to 4 out of 7 at that point. Very close. Ancient Origins was 128, then it was 140, now it's 175. Ancient Origins boxes continue to moon. You still have time to get in at 175. Next stop, 200. That's my thoughts on that. Ancient Origins box is not going down in price. It is one of the hottest items there is right now. Pokemon releasing an XY set, and then ZA Legends, which is a video game, right? And so my thoughts, this set, just like all booster boxes, generally just going to go up. And because it's so hot, it could go up a lot. And so you're being given a chance for 175 right now, $200 next time. That's what I think, okay? So don't FOMO. I'm telling you, you don't have to. But I've been pretty good at this kind of stuff. $200 is next. That's what's going to happen. Remember, the fossil box went up too over time, and that sold out eventually. You know, when we start a break, some types of breaks, we set the price one time and we don't touch it. But when we set a box break like this, where it takes months for it to go off, it's a dynamic price. So, you know, if this is going to take months to go off, we follow the market on that. Pikachu and all this other stuff, whatever the price of the day is, we just go with that. And then, you know, it goes up, it goes down, we don't care. PSA 10 Earthworm from that set sells for $250. Nice. Worst set for quality. Oh, I already read that. CGC grades are okay. Well, you know, I've got a couple CGC 10s, and they've all gone up. I had to make more videos about that so that people know the truth, because a lot of people are very negative about them, I think. They're told to be negative. You are told to be negative about them. But I've got all these CGC 10s that have gone up in price, and so I buy fresh ones every now and then. I buy fresh CGC 10s because they've done so well for me, and I just don't mind. Let's see. Let me show you some CGC 10s, okay? Here we go. Okay, so I got some CGC 10s, and they are not a card I'm looking to sell. They're holds. And so take a quick look. Here's some CGC 10s right here. They don't look so bad when you have a group of them, do they? They tend to look bad if you got all these PSA 10s surrounding them and they're the only CGC 10. But when you have them in a group, they look fine. You go, oh yeah, CGC 10s, those are nice. Kind of changes your whole thought about them. So if the whole table was just CGC 10s, you'd be like, that's normal, you know? But look, I mean, we got this Charizard for $6,600. Says here on 625, it's now a $25,000 slab. We got this Gold Star Charizard for $8,000. Says on 625 is $30,000. Same exact CGC 10. I pulled this myself, so I guess I paid whatever the value of the booster pack was, maybe $500, $600 at the time, and then I graded it twice, so whatever that costs, and then you turn in a CGC 10. This is a huge flip for me. Probably one of my crowning achievements of opening cards has been pulling that Dark Charizard. Very special because I pulled them for myself. So I'm very happy about that. Peel that off. These stickers were not truly for sale. It was more to demonstrate what they were worth. These were not cards I was interested in selling, by the way. We like to do that sometimes. Even cards I'm not trying to sell, we'll put a price tag on them, make them look like they're for sale. We are. Well, of course, they don't look bad. That's the damn SEAL Team 6. Yeah. I think what you're saying is Gold Star Charizard will make any grading company look good. Yeah, I'll take that one. Look at that. Man. But yeah, so people were really unconfident about these CGC slabs. So when I bought them back in 2023, now that would have been around the time that CGC came out with these. When I bought them, they were all cheap because nobody had any faith in them. They were all very nervous. 1.3, 1.8, 6.6, 8,000 for Gold Star 10. I got one more, the Gold Star Torchic, wherever that is. You pulled this. Wait, where's the Gold Star Torchic? I don't know where the Gold Star Torchic is, I realize. I got this too. This is actually pretty cool. I got this Lugia. I'll probably just hold on to this Lugia. I don't really know what to do with it. I'm looking for my Gold Star Torchic. Let's see. You know, I don't see it. Oh, here it is. I found it. Okay, cool. Why was it in this box? Whoa, this box just has random stuff in it. Okay, a couple more here, guys. Couple more. SEAL Team 6. What kind of Pokemon you looking for? What's your favorite? Cards I'm actively looking for, huh? Probably more poker cards. Always looking for the poker cards. There we go. All right, so there we have it. Now that's a CGC 10. Notably, he's got a white dot somewhere. Oh, behind this. There it is. You can kind of see it. See it? So I don't know if this would regrade into a PSA 10. Probably not. I think PSA doesn't like CGC anyways. But I don't think this would regrade into a 10 with PSA, especially with their new tougher standard. So it's a CGC 10. That's what it is. And it will always be a CGC 10. And I'm never going to regrade it. And I don't think anyone will. And I don't know what he's worth today. CGC 10 Torchic. You probably can't even find him. Let's see. But I dropped 15,000 on him. Torchic. There is not one for sale. That's right. Okay. And what about sold? Yeah, you can't find it. Here's a 9 though that sold for 4.7. So I feel that mine would definitely sell for at least 15. Like I'm pretty sure I could get my money back out. What's the latest Gold Star anything? So it looks like on June 15th, a Gold Star PSA 9 sold for 9K. That's pretty good as well, I'd say. Here it is. I'm in the hobby for the money. Let's see. Anything that's worth my time and money. Charizard, Gengar, Blastoise, Pikachu, any of the desired cards. Let me think. What is my favorite set today? I'm still a big fan of Rocket cards. I still like Rocket Returns. I really do. Team Rocket, Dark Anything, first edition. The Legendary Collection catches my attention. You know why? Got a whole bunch of Rocket cards in it, like Dark Dragonite, Dark Vaporeon, Dark Persian. So here are those two of those Dark Dragonites. Well, I have another one, and it's the PSA 10. So I've got another one of these guys as the PSA 10, and I just really like them. Yes. I would say the poker cards are kind of at the top of my list right now. I'm big on the poker cards. I just really like them. There's just something really sexy about it. I played cards when I was younger, you know. Yeah, I was really lucky with these. I better stop collecting Pinsir then. No money with him. That's not true. That's not true. Pinsir goes up. They all go up. They all go up. Even Hypno goes up. Even Magnemite goes up. Or Magneton. Is. But you know, it might not go up as much as the others. So that's the real issue. You might find something else goes up more. Or goes up sooner. Look at that Lugia. That's a Karuta Lugia. And actually, I think it was Mr. Adam who introduced those to me. Adam was talking about the Karutas, and I said, all right, we'll try them out. So now we got a little bit of the Karutas. I don't know if the Karutas have done super well, though. The poker cards have done super well, but the Karutas have done decently well, I'd say. They're really fascinating, though. It's like it definitely looks like a Monopoly card or something like that, you know? It looks like a children's toy, has that feeling to it. But there's always a market for everything. So they weren't too expensive to acquire, and if they don't sell for that much, well, that's the market for them. You know, it's a sort of cheap to acquire, cheap to sell, right? All right, let me put this back, everybody. Should I leave? Man, I want to leave some of this over here. This is super cool. So there you go. There's a little shout-out for CGC. I don't hate the CGC company. I don't think they're that bad. I don't prefer CGC Gemmint 10 over PSA Gemmint 10. You'd have to be crazy to prefer that. Rocket Returns, still the king of the EX era, by opinion, better than Dragon Frontiers and Deoxys. Well, hold on. I really like the EX Deoxys, too. There's definitely Nothing wrong with that. They've got a hollow pattern that is just insane, dude. The hollow pattern from that time period is crazy. Joey Albrecht is next. He says 5 Pokey Shuffles and 25 Tortoise Slabs. You got it, Mr. Joseph. Don't you be talking poo-poo on EX Deoxys. That one's crazy, dude. I love that one. I wish, deep down, I wish that I just dumped water all over my head and bought that Gold Star Rayquaza for like 40,000. Because he was for sale for that much one time. And there were like 1 billion watchers on it. They're like, whoa. Okay, so 5980 minus 25. What's 80 minus 25? Isn't it like 45 or something like that? No, that would be 70. It's 55, right? 55 it is. 5955 remains. And then 5 Pokey Shuffles. Why did the 2013 Pikachu Legendary Treasures Radiant Collection PS10 go to the moon? Asking price now is 3,000. Well, that fits in with a lot of those cards from that time period that seem to just be kind of jumping all of a sudden. People are becoming more Pokey educated. They're reaching out into more obscure sets. You know, the obvious sets are already driven up, and so they're going, well, what about these other sets that are super rare and lesser known? Here's Iron Thorns. I really think there's probably some international money coming into the hobby. Iron Thorns. All right, let's move this around. All right. I think there's some big international money coming into the hobby, and that's part of what's driving it up. Oh, that's Tyranitar. That's pretty cool. You know, hold on to that one, because it might not look like much today, but there was no equivalent to this card as like a higher rarity in this set. So it's a long time to hold on to it, but it's also not a lot of money. So if you just sit it into a box in your closet and leave it alone for 20 years, that could be a $100 card, tripling in price. We've seen holographic cards do that already, by the way. Simple Hollows. Look at the 25th anniversary cards. But then again, I don't know how popular Iron Thorns will be. But he's a Tyranitar type. Future Tyranitar. Okay, we have an order over here for our friend. Nope, we got to hit refresh. Sorry about that. Collecting what you love sometimes means you don't worry about what someone else thinks it's worth. Yeah, exactly. Well, and I think people collect with two mindsets. Some people are looking for top value because they go, I'll sell that card so that I get more money, and then I can use that money to buy what I want. Christopher Fenton. So people get hungry just for any good deal at all. Christopher Fenton says 2 Korean Terra Festivals, 2 Korean Eevee Heroes, 2 spots on the Mega Mew. Ooh, the power of 2. You got it, Christopher. He's finishing this off. There it is. Oh, okay. Let's go get those other items for you. Korean Terra Festival, Korean Eevee Hero. Black and white is so rare and low pop. Turn this down. It's possibly the most limited era, and it's hard to grade the arts. Here we are. Black and white. Black and white. Oh, yeah. Okay. I know what you're talking about. I had opportunities to buy black and white booster boxes, but I looked at the pulls, and I just couldn't get into it, man. I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. I much rather prefer the EX Ruby Sapphire era. I like Ruby Sapphire way better. So that's the problem with black and white is similar to the video game that I never played. I owned it, but then I put it down and I said, I'm not going to play this. And that's the first time I did that with the Pokemon game. I just couldn't stand the designs. So there's a couple good Pokemon from that time period, I think. Especially Zekrom's really cool. Reshurom's decent. But there's so many designs that just don't work, I feel. Here we are. Ooh. Hoo-hoo. Mister, can you say gay rights? Why are you saying that, Mike? Si? You want me to say gay rights? There it is. Here we go. Ta-da! Is that some sort of meme? Here's Melodic. Ta-da! Very nice. Very nice. Gen 5, like Gen 3, also has a diehard fan base that is only just now getting some disposable income. Here we are. Oh, all right. Well, I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. Let's go ahead and sleeve this. My era's better than your era. Your era sucks. Christopher Fenton. Let's see. Put this over here. And we'll go grab. We got him, Mike. Side, make a clip quickly. There we go. So we're gonna grab this mega sublist. Now there can only be one. One person gets pulled out of this mega sublist. Let's put this back in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and a 10. This is a card shop. I'm pretty sure like half of my clientele is definitely gay or bi. You are? Let's see. I'm tired of you guys flirting with me. I'm happily married. Here's, let's see. What do we say on the back? We say like mega booster. Ah, that'll work. Mega. Let's see. Booster. Dude. Or they're virgins. I'm not gay. My boyfriend's gay. Pride Month is over. So back into the closet. Back, I say. All right, that's the mega booster. You're trying to pull one of these. Ready? Now, Tammy's not here for the daytime stream, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Pride Month. You know, I don't have any problems with it, with people want to be gay or whatever, but I really do think it causes a stir when you get a whole month to yourself. I really do think people don't, we celebrate 4th of July. That's like the founding of the country and all that. That's one day. All right. It almost feels like overcompensating. That's what I'm saying. It feels like an overcompensating thing. Like, I'm going to need a whole month for my birthday. Really? All right. Like an insecurity. It's only gay if you make eye contact. It's only gay if you take your socks off. You are? Tammy made me lunch today. Oh, that would be sweet if she did, but I don't think she did. I think you're lying. Give me a number. Nobody makes me lunch. Where's my lunch? 3. A 1, a 2, a 3. All right, number 1, Travis Nova. Cold. Sorry, Travis. Bill Barron. Cold. Sorry, Bill. Elijah Martinez. Cold. Sorry, Elijah. Chris Abruzzo. Cold. Sorry, Chris. Number 5, Bill Barron. Cold. Sorry, Bill. Number 6. Sorry, Bill. Number 7. Oh, could it be number 7? Okay, number 7 is Bill Barron. Number 8 is Chris Abruzzo. Number 9 is Chris Fenton. And number 10 is Chris Fenton. All right, those are your common cards that you guys have pulled. Tell your Discord kittens to make you lunch. I don't have a Discord kitten. Wow, I must not be sexy enough or something. I don't know. Or maybe I scare people off. Do I intimidate? I probably don't got the Discord Riz or something. Yes. People say, show me a picture of your Charizard. There you go. Nobody ever asked for a picture of my Diglett. Sad. Yes. I have so much to give. You see the firework warehouse explosion? Oh my God. Every year there's a video like that. There's a video of a guy holding a firework too long and his hand gets blown off. And there's a video of a firework tent exploding. But you're saying this time it's a warehouse, huh? All right. We'll put this over here. And Bill Barron, to his very good luck, pulled the spot because he had a total of 4 spots in that break. He had like a 50% chance. Holy. There you go. Thank you, Bill, for getting that list moving. What a lucky guy. Okay. Okay. Now this becomes his Mega Booster card. This is the card he pulled out of the custom booster packs. And we write his name on it, Bill Barron. Thank you, Bill. Okay, now, and this gets slipped back here. Whoa. And that is spot number 4. There's only three spots left. So this is more than halfway done. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 done. 5, 6, 7 remains. It's a big card to pull for just $40. 2.8 thousand is what we valued it at that day that we priced it up. Yeah, it's just a really expensive card. Let's see. Where does July 4th rank in your holiday tier list? So it's definitely not at the top. I don't really like 4th of July. To me, it never really made sense that we, and this is probably like a checkmate atheist or whatever kind of explanation, like I'm tipping my fedora, but it never really made sense that we spend all this money on like fireworks because they come from like China, I guess. It doesn't really have anything to do with the Founding Fathers. It doesn't really have to do with the Declaration of Independence. It's just fun to blow things up. But you could have fireworks on New Year's. You could have fireworks on Christmas. You could have fireworks on Easter. Any day. It doesn't matter. You can have fireworks on your birthday. So I don't know how fireworks became the thing for 4th of July, right? Maybe it's because the explosions make you think of war. I don't know. But whatever the case is, we won our independence from Britain, and now we celebrate it on the 4th of July. And I feel like, yeah, I can't figure it out. I don't love the fireworks, and the cost of them is outrageous. So you spend all this money on fireworks. They get lit up, turned into, you start out with a lot of money, you end up with zero money because it all gets set on fire. And it all goes to another country, which makes a ton of money off of this. And it's just like, now I'm feeling patriotic. I don't know. It actually does not make me feel even a little bit patriotic to blow up fireworks. Blowing up fireworks is just sort of like a pyromaniac activity. You're just blowing stuff up because you like to blow stuff up. But it doesn't make me think, wow, the Founding Fathers were so philosophical and fought so hard to get this country. It doesn't make me think that. It just makes me think this is an activity we do in the summer. So I don't like it. I wish we had different customs, different what's the word I'm looking for? Not habits. Thing you repeat it's a word like customs. What's the word I'm looking for? Traditions. There we go. Traditions. Wish we had a different tradition for 4th of July. I don't know what it would be. So I don't have any great, I can complain really well, but I don't have a great alternative. I don't want to buy a bunch of Chinese fireworks and blow up a bunch of Chinese fireworks for America's 4th of July, where it got free from Britain. China doesn't have anything to do with it. Yes, I don't know. The rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in the air. Yeah, I guess, but I literally don't think of, I don't associate the fireworks with war. I don't. Maybe for some people they do. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, there we go. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't feel it. The fireworks don't make me feel it. The fireworks is the tradition, and I don't get a good feeling from the fireworks. I like the idea of America, the country. It's a great idea. The philosophy of the Founding Fathers was super important. They got it from John Locke. John Locke, was he a French philosopher? John Locke was a French philosopher, right? John Locke. What were his main ideas that affected the Founding Fathers? You guys are getting a little history here. You probably learned this in school, but maybe some people didn't. He was a 17th century English philosopher who had profound influence on the Founding Fathers, especially Thomas Jefferson. His political philosophy shaped the core American beliefs about government, liberty, and rights. Here are his main ideas. Number 1, natural rights. Locke believed all people are born with natural rights, life, liberty, and property. He argued these rights are inalienable, meaning they come from God, not from government. So government can't take it away from you because God gave you those rights. All right? And so Jefferson echoes this idea in the Declaration of Independence, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So he might have changed it slightly. The social contract. John Locke said that the governments are formed through a social contract, people who agree to give up some freedoms in exchange for protection of those rights. So, for example, if the government breaks this contract, the people have the right to overthrow that government. Impact. This idea justified the American Revolution. The Declaration says, whenever any form of government becomes destructive, it is the right of the people to alter it or to abolish it. Consent of the governed. Locke argued that government power must come from the consent of the governed, not from the king or from divine rights. So it gives power to the people instead of power to this person that God chose or something, right? Because that's always what kings always say, well, where do I get my power from? Either A, I have a bigger gun than you, or B, God made me the king and you have to do what God says. People are always using God to get what they want. They're like, well, God spoke to me and he said, I have to have $1 million. Separation of powers and limited government. John Locke believed in limiting the government power to prevent tyranny. And let's see, while Montesquieu developed the idea of a formal separation of powers, Locke laid the groundwork by insisting that no one branch of government should dominate. See, so we get our clever presidency, Senate, and Congress, that triangle that keeps each other, locked out of being able to do anything. And then, of course, the Supreme Court, which has almost become a fourth body, it basically is. Religious tolerance. Locke strongly supported freedom of religion and the separation of church and state. A lot of modern people in America think that part of the Declaration was to protect you from Christianity. No, he wrote that rule to protect Christianity from the government, because England was always they were always interfering with the church. So the government would come in and persecute you if they didn't like your religion. So the idea here is that you can practice your Christianity now, and the government's not allowed to do anything about it. So this influenced the First Amendment's protection of religious freedom. So there's the summary, blah, 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 blah. All right, there you guys go. A little bit of history lesson there. It's good timing, isn't it? Because 4th of July is coming around. It's in 2 days. All right, let's put this away. Fresh mega sublist. Also, let's go timestamp this, that we had that break. So we're going to come over here to breaks history. Okay. Mega sublist, Bill Barron. All right. There is American-made fireworks too. Oh, that's cool. I like that. Your last name's French. What? We would never take anything from the dirty French. No, the French. The French were philosophers too. They had their whole revolution and all that. Their eating of the rich. So they had ideas about how to be governed as well. And John Locke, I believe, was influenced by the French, because the French were involved to some degree. That's why we got the Statue of Liberty, by the way. Was John Locke influenced by the French? All right, you ready? Let's see. It says actually he was not significantly influenced by the French. Locke lived before or at the same time as many of the major French Enlightenment thinkers, and his ideas sometimes influenced them. Oh, I didn't know that. I've never heard that before. So AI is actually... oh, here it is. Whatever this guy is, Montesquieu or something like that. Voltaire, Rousseau. Oh, very interesting. Locke's key works, like two treatises of government, essay concerning human understanding, preceded the writings of those French Enlightenment figures. I didn't know that. I swear to God, in school they taught me that he was influenced by the French, not the other way around. Let's see. Who influenced Locke? Classical thinkers like Aristotle, English traditions of common law, and early thinkers like Thomas Hobbes, even though Locke disagreed with Hobbes. Right. When I think John Locke, I always think Thomas Hobbes as well. There it is. If you ever watched that children's comic book, Calvin and Hobbes, people think that the cat's name, the tiger's name, Hobbes, comes from that philosopher. All right, let's see. Next up, we got Jose Arredondo, 5 energy shuffles. All right, you ready? You're just making up names now. What? No, I'm not. Thomas Hobbes and John Locke. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thomas Hobbes had like almost the exact opposite idea, that humans are essentially bad and they have to be governed by a king. So Thomas Hobbes had almost the exact opposite ideas as John Locke. They're like a foil to each other. There it is. That's 5 cold ones. Jose Arredondo, 5 cold ones. Okay. Well, look at this. He says 5 more. He actually wants 10. All right, 5 more. You ready? Jose Arredondo, 5 more. God spoke to me in my dream and said I needed 16 wives, all virgin. Yeah, there's quite a lot of holy men that kind of reach that conclusion. You know, God told me that we need our own religion and that I need about 30 wives, 30 of them, so I can just pass between vaginas. Here we go. Ooh, serulege. Yeah. God's just that way, you know. He wanted me to have 30 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How convenient. So odd that guy wanted that really specific thing for you. 2 live customs for Jose Arredondo. Second round was a lot hotter, huh? 1, oh my God, and 2. Wow, those extra 5 shuffles made all the difference, didn't they? So there you go, Jose Arredondo. Now you're succeeding. Let's see, Cerulege. We just put him in the box, didn't we? Here he is. That's already a $44 card. Oh my God, you just did so good. Did you guys see that? He just did so good. No, wait a second. That's not it. Ah, ta-da! Wow, dude, this guy just killed it, man. This guy just killed it. That's Jose Arredondo picking up 2 really nice cards, Cerulege and Mimikyu from Brilliant Stars. That's English, by the way. Wow. English, not to be confused with French. How many people you think we scared away talking about philosophy? You think a bunch of people left? This guy's not even opening Pokemon cards. I don't want to learn all this stuff. I just want to see Pokemon cards open. I get that. And that's what the stream advertises, after all. There we go. I like that kind of stuff, though. I like talking. I like conversation. Here's Robert Trebleco. He says, extended slab away, 6 months on Poker Gym Leader, 1 South Park pack. Okay, so I think what you're saying is you want to extend this. Hold on, let's take a quick look at it. A card you already have, is that right? Okay, there it is. So you would like this to last until next February. So now it's February 25 to 26. And 1 South Park pack. Where are my South Park packs at? Let's see. I kind of want to go over what Hobbes believed in, because I can't remember it perfectly well. Pretty sure it was just basically boiling down to the fact that Hobbes did not trust the average human being. He thought the average human being was pretty lame. And so he says you need an elite hierarchy, like a government, to keep those people in check, or they'll kill and steal from each other. And it's like, it's not exactly wrong either. You know, it's not, it's a fair observation. Sometimes you get some crazy people in a society, and they need to be watched over. Ooh, look at that. Not everyone's inherently good. Here it is. Oh, but America went more with John Locke's ideas, and then that became one of the best countries to live in the whole world, with some of the biggest innovations. I love this card, the Beefcake card. Beefcake! Let's put this over here. I love Beefcake. This is really fun, too. Look, they're all in the car together. I like that one. Okay, and Big Gay Owl's Big Gay Elephant. It changed from 6 months to 1 year extension. Well, it adds 6 more months. So if he started in February of this year, then it ends February of next year. That's 6 more months. Here's Chef. It is. He was denied bail. Guys, Diddy will be in jail for 10 to 20 years. He was found guilty of 2 of 5 charges. Oh, that's all going down right now, you're saying. Wow. Classic South Park cards. Yeah, these are classic. Wow, I did not know that. Look at this. Emily's getting us the news, man. We just got some news. All right, well, that's crazy, man. Diddy's found guilty. So what were the charges he was found guilty of in particular? He was denied bail. He will be there until sentence. Crazy. I'm sure, yeah, I don't know how all that works, but that's really interesting. Wow, wow, wow. So there you have it. Beefcake Cartman. Weight gain 4,000. There it is. If you guys haven't watched that episode of South Park, it's really funny. Cartman's always being made fun of for being fat. But he watches this commercial about a guy selling like, like workout shakes, right? And he's saying, you need to beef up. You need to get your muscles. Cartman's like, yeah. So he buys it. He's eating this this bulk up product to help him gain muscle. But he's not really working out. He's just eating it thinking he needs to be beefier. And so he gets really fat. And he's super confident about it. He's like, I'm looking good. All right. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, Robert Trebleco, let's find your bag. So, Robert. Oops. Really funny episode. It's already 6:54. We started late. Sorry about that, starting late and all. We started late, so it'll be a shorter stream today. Human nature. Hobbes emphasized selfishness and conflict, while Locke highlighted reason and cooperation. Yeah, exactly. And so they were kind of like a foil to each other. They were opposites of the same, working on the same issue. And Hobbes had the more neurotic perspective on human beings, that humans are fundamentally bad, and that without a king, humans would dissolve into just pure chaos. And the king is actually the only thing that's stopping this chaos from occurring. And so we've seen this. We've seen this kind of play out in places where the power structure is not very certain. You know, you take down maybe like a regime, you take down a cruel leader, and then somehow it actually gets way worse when he's gone. Turned out he was keeping everything in check. The angry guy at the top, he was making sure that it's not even worse than it could be. Here's Umbreon. So it's a fascinating thing. And I think it has to do with the people you pull into a group. If you pull only great people into one group, and then you give them all the freedom in the world, they just develop this beautiful paradise. If you could pull only people from like a prison, perhaps, and put them into a group and just set them all free, they build Australia. No. But the theory is that they turn into anarchy, right? That would be it. They'd turn into anarchy. And the king stops the anarchy. Hobbes did not believe in natural rights prior to government, while Locke argued that individuals possess inherent inalienable rights. So, and I'm more on the side of Hobbes, actually. I don't really believe in like ghosts or spirits myself, just the things I can see with my two eyes. So that's it for me, you know, that metaphysical or religious, all that stuff. It's like, I'm listening to it all, I hear it all, but if God ain't going to fly down and stop this guy from shooting me, I definitely believe in might is right. If a guy can just shoot me and the angels aren't going to interfere, you know, I'm just going to go with the perception of what I can actually see and experience. So that's my perspective. That's why I like Hobbes. And yeah, I think he's right. You know, you have to have a system that keeps everything in check, and that is the government. And the rights come from the government because the government has the biggest gun. No one has a bigger gun than the group of the government. And the moment another group has a bigger gun, that government dissolves, you know. So I have a bit more of a, you could call that a bit more of a what would you call that? Negative, cynical point of view about the world. But I mean, look at China. They're communist China, and they've held on to their communist regime. They call it communism, but it might as well not be called communism anymore. It's not, you know, they don't take down these billion-dollar companies and redistribute the wealth anymore. They're actually kind of pro-capitalism. They just call themselves the communist regime. And they do have some social safety nets. They have wealth redistribution, but communism over there mostly means you're not truly allowed to own some things. Like the government owns part of your business, the majority share. Did you know that? So that's kind of how it works. You can own 49% of it and get rich. Communist government owns 51. So they can shut you down or tell you what to do. They don't need you to vote or tell them like, oh, how you feel about it. They'll decide if they really want something, they'll tell you what's going to happen. Same with owning property. You don't own property. You rent it from the government for 100 years at a time. So that's how it works over there. Here goes Sunvan Fan. Hey, what's up, man? How are you today? So they're fascinating because they do that, but they really do allow a more of a free market, and they allow you to become wealthy. And I think that's really fascinating. Here it is. All right. They've gotten closer to what we have, and we've kind of gotten closer to what they have too. We want the government involved in our lives a lot more. We want a lot more redistribution. We want higher taxes. Now the guy in New York's asking for a government grocery store, you know. So we're moving toward them. They move toward us too, and there's this never-ending discussion about those ideas. All right, so let's get you in that Victini. Let's see. Victini would be over here. He was found guilty of transporting 2 individuals for prostitution, but not found guilty of racketeering. No sex charges. Really? That's so fascinating. Here's 6. I guess it was just accusers, but there simply is not enough evidence or something. Here we are. That is really very lucky for him, if anything. Because if he does get 10 years and he gets out in 10 years, well, I mean, still plenty of life to live at that point. Hobbes believed in absolute sovereignty, while Locke favored limited government with the right of revolution. Hobbes did not believe in natural rights prior to government. Locke argued individuals possess inherent rights. See, I think humans do possess inherent rights. Just one. the ability to become violent. So that's it. I think when you're born, you have the ability to kill other humans. You shouldn't, but if you don't like how life's going, you're probably going to. Like I can tell you not to. The government can tell you not to. But if you're really angry, you'll do it anyways. And so this is why war forms, and that's why criminals form, and this is why mass shooters form. That's your one right. No one can truly stop you from doing like a really horrible, terrible thing. And war is terrible, right? So, you know, you can tell Iran, don't bomb us, and Iran will bomb you. You can tell Israel, don't bomb us, and Israel will bomb you. So people have that one, you know, that's the one truth about your existence, is you can go affect others. That's it. You don't have a right to a home. You don't have a right to being loved by someone else, because you can't force someone to do that for you. You can only ask for it. But you can go be violent, and no one can stop you. So that's a quote-unquote right, but I think of it more as a reality. And that's where the might is right perspective comes from. It's like no one could truly stop you from this thing. And so this is why in an ideal society, in one that's really good to live in, you will want to live in the John Locke society because it's a nicer society. But if you want to talk about like heart of darkness, sort of like, you know, the shit hits the fan, sort of terrible realities. The terrible reality is the world is ran on violence. It really is. The borders in the world exist because somebody shot somebody else or stabbed somebody else with like a, maybe they blew up your castle with the trebuchet or stabbed you with a, what is that stupid thing they put on the end of a musket? I can't remember. But that's what we did with the British, right? So everyone stood in a line, shot each other, and then you charged with your musket with the blade on the end, and then someone stabbed you in the stomach, and voila, now you have America. And it's not British, you know? And so that's it. Horrible, horrible violence formed all these countries that we get to have these flowery philosophy declarations of independence. Well, that's great. It sounds so nice. It sounds so ideal. Yeah. Well, you only get to have it if you murder a bunch of people who you don't like. So you don't like the British? Murder them all and say, this is ours now. Yeah, well, they were British too, but they were loyalists versus rebellion. And so you don't like the ones loyal to the king? Just kill them all. Your country now. And then we have this beautiful flowery Declaration of Independence. So America was won at the end of a gun. The barrel of a gun gave you America. Not love, not kindness, not some sort of joy. It was violence gave you America. So that's my perspective on it. And that's true for every country, including Britain itself. Britain won itself through tons and tons and tons of wars. Here's Justin French for 10 Chinese 151s. You got it, man. That's the one thing you can... Bayonet, yes, bayonet. That's the one thing you can't take away from humans. You can ask them to be nice to you, and you can't stop it. You cannot truly stop them if they're determined to not be nice to you. And that's how the world truly runs. That's your only right, is to cause a problem. And you don't have a right to anything else. And so everyone says, well, hold on. You be nice to me, I'll be nice to you, and we'll live in this happy society together. And as long as that's maintained, society is happy. Society is happy. And when it gets too bad, it all falls apart. You have a civil war. You have maybe all your clever people leave. They fly to Switzerland or something. I don't know. You have this sort of slow hollowing out of what once was a great club to hang out in. And they go, I'm leaving this club. I'm going to the other club that treats me better. So it's very fascinating. The social contract and all that stuff is very fascinating to me. It is. I sent CASHAPP today. Did it come through? Let's take a quick look, Mr. Oh, it's this one right here, Justin. We're doing it. For every action, think on that science quote. Hey, Mr. I sent on CASHAPP. Ancient Origins break still at 140 in the description. Oh, good catch. Thanks, man. Let me update that. I did not think about that. Okay, we're going to say 175. I don't like Might is Right. I think that it's kind of dirty and sad. It's dark. It's depressing. It talks about the maybe sort of like the bad reality of the world. But I do believe in it. But again, I would rather live in a society that is more into what John Locke was talking about with, oh yeah, God says you have a right to happiness. God says you have a right to freedom. That's a better way to live instead of living under the sort of dark cloud of reality. So it's a fascinating thing. It's sort of like a religious person. You know, the happiest person in the world is not the guy who thinks he dies and life is over at that point. The happiest person is the guy who thinks you die and then you get to be in love with God in heaven forever and ever and ever, and it's paradise, and it's going to be total party, and mom's going to be there, and dad's going to be there, and your long-lost brother's going to be there, and everyone's going to live happily forever for all infinity. It's going to be great. Oh, yeah, Master Ball Gyarados. That guy is confident. That guy is happy. He's not as worried about the end of the world or anything like that. He's feeling good. There we go. So the realists, the pragmatists, the analysts live under a sort of neurotic prediction or dream or whatever you want to call it about the future. And the people who believe in the story about the creation of the world and God loves you and all that, they sort of get to live in a better prediction or better hope for the future. Thing is, who's going to be right at the end? That's the thing. So if you really like the pursuit of truth and understanding reality as much as you can, it could be really hard for you to buy into a sort of what almost comes off like a clever salesman story about what you're going to get if you just believe this one thing, So I guess that's me a bit. I'm a bit more cold, a bit more of a realist. So it's hard to get me onto the gravy train when it comes to handing out the good stories about what's going to happen. It's hard to get me on that train because I'm cynical. I'm just naturally cynical. That's my personality. Cynical. I assume the worst. I assume it's going to go wrong. Maybe it helps me set my expectations or prepare or something. I don't know. Maybe it's a genetic trait. Who knows what causes it? It is. But there's a lot of people who never even get to the debate table. They never even get to the point of discussing it. They don't want to think about it. Here's Justin. So, and that would be like, especially our boomer parents definitely don't want to talk about that stuff. They don't want to have rich discussions about those kind of things. But it's just in some people's minds that, that's just not them. They just don't want to do the conversation about it. It's boring. It's boring as tears, man. Bored to tears. Oh, that's nerdy or something. I don't know. But it's the same thing with finance and math. You want to talk about finance. You want to talk about the economy. If you're somebody who wants to talk about finance and the economy all day long, I would bet over a long period of time that you would become a pretty successful person. If you're somebody who really takes enjoyment in those conversations and understanding them, you're gonna place better bets over the long run than the average person who has no interest in those things at all. All right, let's see. Aren't the things we are made of always colliding with each other and eating each other? A little bit. I mean, there's like energy in the universe. The sun puts energy into the plant grows, and then the cow eats the plant, and then the cow gets eaten by you, the predator. So it's kind of fascinating. We're all just eating the sun. So where did the power of the sun come from? ChatGPT once told me I have a cynical point of view. No, I forgot what you asked it. Well, okay, that's funny. That's all I talk about, really. Yeah, I don't know. I just really enjoy it. It's a fun thing. It's like a video game for me, and I definitely have the video game autism. I don't know what you would call it. I have an obsession with systems. I have an obsession with relationships between ideas. I love that kind of stuff. It's like a little thing I'm building in my head, or like a little puzzle I'm playing. I can't describe it, but I get immense enjoyment out of it, and I guess maybe I got into YouTube because I also like talking about it. So if you like both those things, talking and thinking about systems, you could end up running a YouTube channel. Here is Jonathan Fernandez, 2 OP12s. Can you also put a PSA 10 Espeon from Terra Festival to Miss Sarah Dusenberry? Could you explain what that means? Can you put PSA 10 Espeon from Terra Festival to Sarah Dusenberry? You mean you have a PSA 10 Espeon and you're sold it to Sarah? Is that what you're saying? We are. All right. Here it is. Mr. Jonathan. Ah, look at that. Very nice. And here's a holo. Very nice. Hey, M-Dog, are you still taking orders? Well, 708 is a big order or is a small order? M-Dog? What's M-Dog? Is that for Mr.? All right, let's see. Jonathan Fernandez. We are doing lots of philosophy today. We're talking about philosophical ideas. So exciting. All right. I asked and it said I was cynical. There we go. All right. Very nice. A decent sized order. I would say you can send it in, but let's do it tonight because it's 7:08 and that is the sign off time. Today's stream, a bit shorter than usual. We started late. Apologize for that. And so hopefully tonight, a bit more time, okay? If you had $1 million to spend on Pokemon, what's the first thing you'd go buy? Well, that depends. Are you trying to take $1 million and turn it into $2 million? You know, so it really depends. But the first thing I'd do is I'd take that $1 million and I'd carefully invest it into the stock market, probably. Actually, most of it would be invested in the stock market. I'd probably put like 80% into simple like banks, a mix of bank, 4% in the bank. Maybe I would do some USDC, actually. I would do 4.5% USDC, 4% with the bank, and then maybe about 50% of the 80% would be into some sort of like basic stock, okay? So a big chunk of it would go into stocks. A big chunk of it would be into conservative investments that are definitely not going to be lost. And then only about a small fraction of it would be available to use on Pokemon cards. And then I would scrape through the market real slow. So that's it. I wouldn't just dump it somewhere. That would be typically that's a mistake. Like, for example, let's say you wanted to buy nothing but Tyrannotars. Well, you're going to be the one driving up the market on the Tyrannotars. If you drive up the market yourself and not like consumers, because you're a business, right? You're trying to turn 1 million to 2 million. If you're a business and you drive up the price of the Tyranitar itself, you might just be forcing yourself to overpay for a product. So you would buy one Tyranitar and then you'd leave the Tyranitar market. You'd go over to the Charizard market and buy one Charizard because you don't want to accidentally drive up the market all by yourself with a bunch of money. So it's complex. You know, it's not a simple answer. Most of the money would go into simple financial investments and not be used on Pokemon. And then you would scrape through the market and look for something that you think is incorrectly priced. The other thing we'd probably do, we'd probably pick up some sealed product and set that to the side. We'd probably pick up some gradable product and set that to the side and begin working on those because it's a kind of work, isn't it? So you'd grade a little bit here, you'd grade a little bit there. You'd sell a couple of the booster packs here and there, but you wouldn't just dump anything. You wouldn't dump anything fast. You wouldn't buy anything fast. And so it's a slow thing. It's like a labor. When you move too fast, that only works when if you work too fast, it's like gambling. So you want to put $1 million in a slot machine, you might get a payout there too. You want to put $1 million in a game of poker, you might win at a game of poker. But if you want to consistently make money in Pokemon cards, it's all work. It's just a kind of work you have to do. You have to analyze a market. You have to look at price comps. That's actual work. That's research. So you can't just be good at it. You have to go gather data. And data takes time and understanding. And then you place a slow bet. And that bet generally wins. But it's not fantastic amounts of money. Because you could take $1 million and go start any bet. Why don't you go start an oil rig? Why don't you do that? That might make way more than Pokemon. Pokemon's just a fancy hobby for, you know, people who like to wear gym shorts. Why don't you go start an oil rig? Or why don't you go start a watermelon farm or something like that, strawberry farm? I was watching a video on a company that is doing a new type of technology where the strawberries are on these huge racks and the racks rotate and a robot picks the strawberries. No more hiring cheap labor. And so that's the future of farming, apparently. And so why don't you go invest in like $1 million of farm equipment and produce strawberries? So you don't have to do a Pokemon. Why don't you start up a card printing company, or start your own brand or something? Hire a bunch of artists, start your own company. So you don't have to be a middleman in the Pokemon card market with the $1 million. But to answer your question, there wouldn't be one particular thing I buy for $1 million that's going to do extremely well. You would just accidentally drive up the market on your own, and then you will lose money trying to sell those items back into the market because there was not a natural demand for it. You were the one creating the demand with your own money. How's that for an answer? Turn that into a clip. That's a pretty good answer, I feel, because it shows that all that kind of information comes from a long time of experience of doing this, 6 years, doing this 7 days a week, and running many experiments, by the way. I've done stuff like that. I've ran up card prices by myself. I've done that before. Did that on several cards. And it doesn't work that well. That's cheating. $1 only for a Pokemon, like a Pokemon gift card. Okay, so if you were to change the parameters to what would you do with the Pokemon gift card, not with $1 million cash? I mean, it's absurd because that doesn't happen. It doesn't work that way. There is no such thing as $1 million Pokemon gift card. And I already answered the question in the most optimal way. So the answer was 80% of that money would immediately be invested, and you would only work with the remaining $200,000, which is more than enough. And you would be working that $200,000. You wouldn't be working with all $1 million cash. That's a mistake. You do not want to inject $1 million into a Pokemon card hobby right away. So yeah, I already answered in the most optimal way. Not enough liquidity, which is why crypto exists. If PSA was smart, they would tokenize their slabs. I don't know about that. I don't think that's going to happen. But you never know what the future technology of grading is. I've always suspected that this is just a label and a website and a piece of plastic. And my theory has always been that this is going to change one day, so that there's like a computer chip inside of the slab. So you never know. But one day, when you got cards that cost $40,000, you don't think they can add a cheap computer chip into a slab? Of course they can. So in the future, they'll have computer chips in the slabs. That's what I think will happen. And the slabs might be made in a more or less indestructible way than just plastic. So it'll be like some sort of insane thing. But because right now, there's lots of $200 slabs, but there are slabs that go upward of $100,000. And those definitely are worth putting a lot of technology and a lot more security into the actual slabs. I think it'll happen. It's got to happen. He doesn't say what you should buy. It skirts the area of financial advice, but if you listen closely, you will hear it during the stream. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different Pokemon sets. You can buy a couple vintage boxes. You can buy a couple of modern boxes. If you look at the history of all the Pokemon cards and you have a knowledge of all the history of the cards, you can see like Evolving Skies did really well. Well, do you want to go buy $1 million of Evolving Skies? No, that'd be really stupid. You shouldn't do that. It's already kind of price peaked, and we don't know where it goes from here. It could be stagnant for a while. But you can just go buy $1 million of it if you want, or you can buy like $100,000 of it or $50,000, whatever you want to do. But if you just drive that market by yourself, you've already made the first mistake. So I've already given you the actual advice. The advice is do not accidentally drive the market. You want to just buy a card in the market and disappear. If you're the one driving the market, then that's kind of like a fake appreciation on the card. Now you're stuck with this overpriced card and no proof that any real customer really wants it. You wanted it. And so this is a really important idea. I've just shared like a big secret with you, that you don't want to be the one pushing that market with your $1 million. You want to leak the $1 million into the market very slowly. And the way the market kind of works, you're waiting for motivated sellers. They're not all over the place. They just crop up every now and then. And so you're looking for that. You're not looking for anything other than that. If you're trying to flip 1 million into 2 million. In the meanwhile, the rest of your cash is earning you 10% maybe on average. So you're trying to get the rest of that cash to work for you. You don't want to dump, but if you're going to definitely dump $1 million, maybe you just go buy some vintage cards, some nice looking ones, some ones that maybe, yeah, I don't know. You just go buy some vintage cards if you'd like. I like vintage. So, if I was just spending $1 million to spend $1 million, I'd go buy some vintage probably. You could probably spend $1 million on vintage, couldn't you? Yeah, maybe I'd go buy a bunch of legendary collection cards. I like those. Those are really expensive. Right, like I think somebody wants almost $100,000 for the PSA 10 Gengar legendary collection. Maybe I'd just go buy that and hope that goes to $200,000. You think it's going to go to 200? That's a real question. It'll look good in your collection. Do you think it's going to go to 200, like in any reasonable amount of time? You could just go buy $1 million of card product, okay, so black and white English is going to come out, right? Just go buy $1 million of that. Wait for it to go up. So you could do that if you want, if you don't want stocks. But to actually like turn 1 million into 2 million in the card market takes a lot of precision, and it takes a lot of timing, and it takes a lot of understanding of what's going on. And it's a slow thing. It's not a fast thing. It's if you really want to have it done, you can't spend that money in a day. You got to spend it over 365 days slowly. All right, so there you go. I'm going to go ahead and head out. Let's see, it's 7:17. I'm going to go ahead and head out, guys. Shadow First Edition Zard, Rev, not the artist, Pikachu? Yeah, some would go to sealed, some would go to gradable products, some would go to slabs, and you just do it real slow. Have a nice night, guys. I'll see you for the late night stream.